Welcome back to the Tailored to You podcast. The Tailored Tea is hot, I have to say, and my next guest sure spills it. He is real candid with me on his most surprising and disappointing celebrity guest. He says it all, including never before shared information on the Kardashians. Breaking news over here. He is the Windy City Live co-host, Emmy Winner, musician, the Chicago Prince, Meme King, most eligible bachelor. You'll have to find out in the episode. He's going to kill me. I think I may have given it away with Meme King, Ryan Chiaverini. Ryan and I talk celebrities. I mean, he's pretty much interviewed everyone you can imagine in the entertainment industry. This one was so much fun for me. Ryan, you made a Chicago girl's dream come true. Please enjoy Ryan Chiaverini. Can't tell you how happy I am to be doing this. Like when I first reached out to you, our connection, obviously, Valari, shout out. That's why we're sitting here right now.
Yes.
It's our local Italian go-to in Chicago.
I've been coming here for 15 years. That's when I met Benny. I used to live in this neighborhood, so this is like one of my absolute favorite places in Chicago.
I grew up with his children. Christina Sadu is my longtime friend, and so coming here, the vodka sauce pasta, still to this day, for our birthdays, that's what we go for. So thank you, Valari. Special shout out. Seriously, when I reached out to you, I was like, I don't know if he's going to, respond to me. I mean, it's Ryan Chiaverini. Like, who do I think I am?
That's overrated.
And literally, you were so responsive, so awesome. And I had to think it had to be, I'm a local Chicago girl. You love Chicago. It's embraced you. Do you feel that way about other young, driven people in the city?
It's crazy. So, Taylor, I was in your shoes not that long ago, right? I mean, I think it's been a little bit longer than I think, but I just remember being in your shoes. I remember reaching out to people, and I still remember the journalists and TV personalities that were so receptive and made an influence and actually took, some initiative to say, hey, I'll sit down with you or I'll interview you. We didn't have podcasts back then. So I guess it was a little bit longer than I think, but I still remember the people that reached out and were cool. And I still remember the people that never emailed me back. So I just feel like you got to pay it forward. So like someday you're going to be sitting here and there'll be somebody else there. And so it's like you got to send the elevator back down once you go up. And I don't feel like I'm at the top. I'm still, there's still things I want to accomplish too. But I just think that it's important to try to help the next generation,
And that's so awesome to hear because truly when you said, you saying manifesting over here, I'm going to be in your seat one day. Let's just manifest that right there. It's happening. Tailored to you.
I'm
Ryan
huge.
Chiaverini said it himself.
Yes. No, I'm huge on law of attraction. I still keep in touch with the guy that we started our TV careers together in Great Falls, Montana. I remember when I got my first paycheck, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. And he's out of the business now. But he goes, Ryan, I am so proud of you because you used to always say you're going to be in a big market. You're going to get out of this town and you're going to be in a big city doing this. And he's like, you spoke it into the universe. And I had no idea what law of attraction was or The Secret or any of those things. If you should read those if you haven't read those. But I really believe that. I think that, what you put out comes back to you. So it's like, you got to wake up and you got to try to be positive, even with all this craziness going on. And it's so easy to be negative. We could sit here and complain about everything going on in the world. But I just think put positive vibes out there. Put vibes out there that you're going to be in this seat and bigger. And I think that it does manifest. It will come back.
And I'm, like I said, I'm a firm believer in it. So to hear you are too, we're going to have a great conversation. I think we're already best friends.
Yeah, BFF. Where's our necklaces?
I know. I'll be adding RC on my choker. You were originally a sportscaster. You mentioned that's kind of your roots back in Montana. And then when you came to Windy City Live, it was kind of on a whim almost. Oprah was leaving, retiring.
Yeah, what did she ever do? No, just kidding. Yeah, no, it was crazy. So I always loved entertainment. Always wanted to eventually make the transition. And it only took Oprah retiring before I got the opportunity. But it was, and that was sort of like an American Idol process. There was like hundreds of candidates. They flew in the top 40. We all had a cocktail party. Like imagine this entire room filled with people that you are competing with for a show, but you're supposed to have cocktails and be buddies. It was the weirdest thing, but they wanted us to get to know each other so that maybe we had some chemistry when we auditioned. And we did like 8-minute auditions together. And I remember I was covering sports at the time, so I had to do all of my auditions first. I just went back to back to back to back with 7 or 8 people in a row, 8 minutes each, trying to talk about different things. And then I had to leave and go cover the Bears that day. So I just figured if I didn't get the job, I still had a sports job. And then they called me back that night and said, hey, you made it to the next round. I'm I'm like, oh, great. So then we did another round of auditions with fewer people, and then another round of auditions. I felt like Kelly Clarkson.
And hey, look at her now. So that'll be you. You're going to have your own talk show host.
And now she's doing my job.
I mean, I'm
Jeez.
hearing people are, this is some serious gossip going on. I'm hearing there's talks of maybe she might be replacing Ellen's time slot.
No way.
So, yeah, people are loving Kelly Clarkson. She's got that spark. So, hey, we're doing another manifestation. Ryan Chiaverini. Another Kelly Clarkson moment.
If I could only sing like her, that would be amazing.
Well, we're going to get into how you also sing. So that's definitely something you have about you. You originally, though, said when you had heard about the talks of Windy City Live coming about, at the beginning it was the Morning Rush. That's what the talk of it was.
What a terrible name.
And thanks to you.
Morning Rush. Yeah, I got nothing for that, by the way. But I remember when I was in the audition process, I met with some of the producers, and I said, whether you pick me for the show or not, I think the name Windy City Live is a better name than the Morning Rush. And they go, oh, I kind of like that. So they put it through a bunch of focus groups. And I said, if you don't pick me for the show, take the name if you want it. And so they put it through a bunch of focus groups and they liked the name. So it's kind of cool.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You trademarked it.
Yeah.
They need to put RC again in the corner.
I just want royalties of some kind, but I got nothing. But it is kind of cool.
Well, you have 10 seasons.
10 years, yeah.
That's royalties kind of in itself.
It's really remarkable. I thought if we got 5, that would be nice. 5 years would be a good run, and then I'll figure out what the next thing is. So the fact that we are in our 10th year is pretty remarkable. So now my co-host and I are like, maybe we just ride this out until we're old and they kick us off the air. They're going to be propping us up someday. Right. So I don't know. It's been a really good run. It's way better than I ever imagined.
And I'm so happy to hear that because it's also just other people. Like I said, I've watched the show. It was kind of became my morning routine too with my mom. She would, as we were talking before, she literally has a photo with you from season 1, which is hilarious.
We need to update that picture. I look like I'm 4.
Oh, she'll love that. I guess are we scheduling lunch? I guess we got to get together then, and we'll retake the photo. I can make that happen.
Well, since we're BFFs, I know. Come on.
I'll bring the necklace for that for that lunch session. What I really liked to hear was when you said that when there was talks of the show, you felt really confident and you kind of called the management and said, I'm your guy. And so clearly other people believed in you. That's why you're here 10 years later. But what made you believe in yourself?
I think my dad had a big impact on that. So when I was young, my dad's a big sports fan and I was just kind of a goofy kid, like a ham. I was an athlete, but I would mute the TV and, try to call the play-by-play, but I would do it kind of in a joking manner. I didn't really take it seriously. It was just something funny to do and kind of to make fun of sportscasters. So my dad was like, "Rye, you're actually pretty good at this. Like do it for real." So he would mute the TV and I would call the game. And he's like, "You should do this. This is what you should do." And I was young, so I really, I liked the acting thing, and that's probably still my biggest regret that I didn't pursue that more. I've gotten to do some cool cameos and a few shows, but I just felt like that was more attainable, to be a sportscaster. But my dad really had a big impact on that, and he was the one that sort of believed that I could do it before I believed I could do it. And I remember when I was applying for jobs after college, and I was like, Dad, they want 5 years experience or whatever. He's like, don't worry about it. Get the job first, then figure out how you're going to do it. And I always think about that, and I always tell that to young people now. It's like, don't worry about what they're saying in experience. Get the job first and figure it out. Because I learned more on my first job than I learned 4 years of getting a journalism degree. Doing campus radio and TV is nothing compared to when you're in, the real thing, facing live bullets. You're reading a teleprompter for the first time. I didn't have a teleprompter in college, so reading it was your heart's racing and you're scared. And I always try to tell people now that get to read a prompter, you control the prompter. The prompter doesn't control you. If you slow down, they slow down. That's the way it's supposed to go. And if they don't, then they're bad at running a prompter. But the bottom line is don't feel obligated and don't feel married to those words. I ad-lib a lot, more than most. But I get on the prompter, I get off the prompter. I remember going to Oprah and seeing her do that when I was early on in my career. I was like, wow, she's really good at just getting on the script and then getting off the script. Prompter stops and she ad-libs a little bit and then she might get back into it. And I always tell people that. Don't let those words control you, And I'm big on writing my own copy too. I think it's like you've seen Ron Burgundy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have anchor friends that will read anything that's on the prompter. They really will. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. I always will look at my script. I always rewrite it or tweak it and write like you talk because you don't want to be a robot.
And then it makes it more personalized too. It's like
Totally.
coming from you, it's your personality, which I think people would appreciate. But I always think about the teleprompter because I've learned, I think growing up, I always wanted to I did radio and TV in high school. I always wanted to kind of get into that. And then when podcasting came about, I'm like, I think this is more my lane because I'm kind of more improv. I feel like I feel like just my age in general, this generation is very like, says whatever kind of no filter, which is a good and a bad thing.
Good and bad.
But it kind of comes with, TV, especially your show is live. Do you ever get apprehensive being live, especially in a society that's kind of, I don't want to say promoting cancel culture, but it is a cancel culture.
Yeah. Here's the thing is, so we've been doing the show 10 years and what even was acceptable 10 years ago to say is not acceptable now. So we do a live tease where the two anchors will toss to us and say, hey, what's coming up on Windy City Live? And I'll say, hey, guys, this is it. And they just told me recently, you can't say guys. You can't say guys. And I was like,
oh, I didn't even realize that.
I've been saying this for years. Like, hey, guys, coming up today. But now that's not acceptable. And so it's hard. It's like trying to navigate, being always politically correct is tough. And our show is, we touch the edge of what's, appropriate. We talk about sex and relationships a lot. So you're going to talk about, some stereotypes, and you're going to talk about guy versus, we just did an all guys show. And 99% of the feedback, great. They loved it. They knew it was in jest, but I got a couple of messages that was saying, oh, that was a sexist comment. I'm like, guys, and gals.
We're back.
You have to realize we're just having some fun too. But yeah, I think that it's getting tougher and tougher to be a comedian today, to make jokes on TV. So I don't know where we go. I mean, I'm all for equality. I'm all for acceptance, but I'm also for humor too. And I think that we're getting into a place where, I have a niece who's younger than me significantly. And if I said something and she's like, oh, uncle, you can't say that. I'm like, no, you can say that. This is not, I think we were talking about race or something. And I have a friend who's Mexican, and I said, oh, yeah, he's Mexican. And she goes, oh, you have to say Hispanic. I go, no. His family's from Mexico. He's Mexican. Like, our family's from Italy.
People are
we're
afraid
Italian.
to say anything.
Right. And sadly, because of the past administration, there has been a lot of race that has now been treated poorly, or words can be hurtful. But I think that we have to get to a place where we're loving, we're accepting, but we still can laugh at things. And that's been getting tougher and tougher.
I think Steve Carell has said that The Office, people are like, do an Office reboot. He's like, we couldn't do it. It wouldn't be the same. And none of the jokes would land today.
You're absolutely right.
They'd be canceled.
Yeah. And my favorite comedian is Eddie Murphy. And he's actually coming out
he's
coming out with Coming to America too. But he's doing another stand-up. And he said the stand-ups I did in the 80s are just not socially acceptable now. So I just think that I'm for, like I said, I'm very much for evolving and realizing certain things are not acceptable anymore. But at the same time, I don't know how far we're going to go to the point where nothing's going to be funny anymore.
And you've even said too that it can be kind of different now, especially not always doing live shows and having or you're doing live shows but not having audience members. You don't know if your jokes are funny because you're so used to people laughing with you, and now you say a joke and you look at Val like, huh?
Yeah.
Did you not think that was funny, Val?
Yeah. The first month of no audience, it was very weird. Now we're getting used to it, and we do have some guests, the guests on the monitors. So at least we're laughing among each other. But yeah, it's definitely a different show without a live audience. You don't have that immediate feedback. You don't know if, what you said's funny or, if it's receptive to the audience because you don't get that feedback.
Well, and I've noticed too, as I do these more and more, I feed off of people. Like right now, my sister's here doing video, Ryan's here doing audio. Stephanie, shout out as well. we got a squad. She's texting. She's very interested in us, Ryan.
Yeah, I can tell.
But
Ryan's texting too.
Yeah.
Are they texting each other? Oh, okay. All right. I like it.
But that's just what he has to say. But I find myself kind of looking at them like, for feedback almost, because it's just to have other people when you have conversations, it's definitely just natural for people. And to not have those audience members would definitely be different. And hey, my mom, I'm sure, was a loud one back in the day. So she was probably laughing at all your jokes.
Did she get to come to a good show?
I mean, I'll have to ask her, but it was definitely season 1 if it was 2011.
Yeah, we had some pretty good guests in season 1 because I think that all the publicists thought that we really replaced Oprah. It was like, oh, this is the show that replaced Oprah. So every A-lister.
Barack Obama, hurry, stat, first show.
Yeah, I remember we had Jimmy Kimmel, Cal Ripken Jr., Baseball Hall of Famer, and Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk. You're a little too young for the original Incredible Hulk. On the same show. Like we had Dwayne Wade and Steve Harvey on the same show. We had some of these like amazing lineups, and now we go, man, I wish we could get that kind of lineup again, but I don't know. We've had just about every big guest. There's a couple I still really want to have on, but we've been very, very fortunate. But
what were those moments like, though? Honestly, when you first started and having those guests and sitting there, were you intimidated? I mean, Ryan, I'm a little bit at first. I'm feeling better with you, but I definitely was a little bit intimidated.
No, don't be intimidated
because it's nerve wracking doing these, especially with you.
We're all the same. And the more you do this, the more you realize like we're all really just the same. Everybody,
we're human.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had some pretty big A-listers on. I remember interviewing Al Pacino, and I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, oh, what's he going to be like? Is he going to be like he is in the movies? Is he going to be, a tough guy? Yeah, right? He was the kindest guy, and that's the other thing I guess I think about too. Like I've got to interview The Rock, and you wonder what he's going to be like, and he's exactly what you want him to be. So it's really cool. I think in the beginning, it was. I guess I got my feet wet doing sports for so long. So I got to interview the biggest athletes in the world. So now it's just interviewing movie stars or whoever. So I was a little more prepared for it. But when I was a young sportscaster, I remember, holding a mic in when Michael Jordan was standing there. And it was like, you're just staring at him like, that's him. Like, that's the silhouette of his head.
I would go mute.
Yeah.
For anyone who knows me, I am obsessed with Michael Jordan. It's because of my dad and growing up.
Yeah. I've interviewed Jordan a few times. When he opened his restaurant, I was in the gym. I was living right here in Streeterville, and my producer calls me and said, hey, Michael Jordan's in town. He's at his restaurant right now. You have to go over there and try to interview him. I was like, oh, I'm in the gym. She's like, just go. So I didn't even shower. I just
Oh my God. For me, that would be an excuse to leave the gym. I literally would need someone to call and say, do you want to get coffee? Michael Jordan, I'd be out there in a second.
I went over there and went into his restaurant. There had one table open, and he's standing right behind the table. And there was like a little partition that was, separating us, but the window was cut out. So I sat at the table. My producer met me there, and we're sitting right here at the table. Jordan's right here, standing here, talking to somebody. And we were like, we got to talk to him. So finally, we had just had his mother on the show. And so that was like my opening line. I was like, hey, Mike, congrats on the restaurant. We just had your mom on a show that I host. And he shook my hand. He was cool. We chatted for what seemed like an hour, which was probably 45 seconds to a minute. And I tried to get him on the show, and he was very nice. But basically, I could see on his face it wasn't happening, and we haven't had him on.
That's what I was going to. That was one of my questions for you, Ryan. When are we going to get MJ on Windy City Live?
That would be amazing.
I mean, it's a Chicago staple show.
Yeah.
That's what we were going to say. Actually, before, too, we were talking like dream guests I'd have. And I was thinking, we brought up my friend Stephanie, who I was sitting here. I didn't mention Michael Jordan. And I was like, oh, my God, Michael Jordan. And then my sister said Eminem. And we were like, the two people who never do press are the people we're aspiring to talk to.
Eminem?
Come on, Eminem. You don't like Slim Shady?
Yeah, he's really good actually on the podcast that Mike Tyson does, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Oh, I didn't know he did it. He has his own podcast?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Eminem was on it, and it was actually really good because Eminem's a huge fan of Mike Tyson, and we've actually had Tyson on 3 times. He's one of my favorite guests. He was such a kind soul. I remember when I met him, I told him my last name, Chiaverini, and he's like a boxing historian, so he knows. That's the one thing he knows everything about. And I know people don't think that he's super bright. He is very bright when it comes to boxing. And he goes, he's like, Chiaverini, there's a boxer named Chiaverini. I said, yeah, Tony Chiaverini. That's my best Mike Tyson. I can go.
Let's do a couple more impressions. Yeah, should we do Mike Tyson the rest of the interview and see how we do?
I told him that my uncle fought Sugar Ray Leonard. He goes, yeah. He goes, your uncle also fought. He named like 2 other fighters. But yeah, that's a fun fact. My uncle fought Sugar Ray Leonard in like 1980 at Caesar's Palace. Howard Cosell called the fight. It's on YouTube. But Tyson knew that right away. And he was so like enamored by that. I'm like, you're Mike Tyson. You've seen the coolest things ever. That's not that cool. But
no, I mean, I would say that's pretty cool. But for him, I see what you mean. For him to kind of acknowledge that as being cool.
The fact that he knew it, though.
And I feel like that's just his attention to, I love any person I meet who I feel like is really like listening to me or like is really genuine. It seems like you've remembered that about Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You've had that connection with him. But also your last name is one, Chiaverini, that I swear I feel like people would remember too. Because I have had a cross-reference. I say your name now almost phonetically. Like I say to myself, Chiaverini. So I know exactly how to spell it.
Right.
Do you ever run into that?
I just learned how to spell it last year. So it's actually supposed to be Chiaverini.
Really?
And all
so
the
you're
Italians in this city still write letters, and I'm sorry to the Italian community. It got Americanized when my father was a kid on the East Coast, and so it just became Chiaverini. But yeah, we pronounce it wrong thanks to America.
Kind of speaking about guests, you mentioned Mike Tyson. I mean, Michael Jordan, I know, hasn't been a guest on Windy City Live. We're going to do a hashtag.
Yes.
That's going to happen. But you've also had Chance the Rapper, Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel, you mentioned, Nick Cannon, Kevin Hart, Brett Eldridge, Diane Sawyer, Michelle Obama. I mean, the list continues. I mean, it's been, like we said, 10 seasons. So many different guests. But I have to ask, because I'm a huge fangirl, as you can kind of tell already. I love pop culture. I just eat that up. And so which guest personality that you've interviewed so far has been the most surprising to you?
Surprising in a good way?
I mean, hey.
There's been a few that have disappointed me too. I don't want to get into all the trash talk.
I've also said been like the least surprising too. Like ones where maybe, like you said, it wasn't who you maybe thought they were going to be.
Yeah, no, there's been some disappointment.
Spill the beans
There's
over
been
here.
a couple. If I told you one of the biggest disappointments, you would be disappointed. It would hurt your heart. When I've told people this, they're like, "Why did you tell me that? You just ruined it for me." Oh, see, now this is probably the publicist telling me not to say it. Oh, it's
here. I'll tell him real quick. We'll bleep it out. And I'll get.
I will tell you. Tyson was one of my most surprising because he was so kind and gentle. He was like, "Ryan, will you meet my wife? Will you meet my wife?" I go, "Sure, I'll meet your wife." He goes and gets his wife. He like coddles his wife, and I'm like, "This is amazing." And she was with him through all the tough things. So he is actually one of my most surprising. Jimmy Kimmel's one of my favorite guests.
And you guys have really good rapport together.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Jimmy's
I was listening to you on the
great.
radio last, you just met me recently
cool
with him.
is that?
The fact too that he said, you mentioned Jimmy, I love working with you. I still think of that being such a fond memory. And he was like, I mean, it's the fact that you still think of me that way. He's like, please, you've talked to so many other people. That just also shows he's probably down to earth a little bit too.
Yeah, he's like, you got to raise the bar a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what's
I
cool?
loved
So
that.
I was filling in on the radio, and I just dropped him an email. I said, "Hey, Jimmy, I would love to have you on the radio show." And the fact that he got up early, because those hours were brutal. I was waking up at 3:30 in the morning, on the air at 5:30, and your brain's supposed to work.
And I love how you document it too. I follow you on Instagram, so I see all like your whole morning routine. I love seeing the behind the scenes. I think everybody kind of enjoys that. So you were up early.
It was brutal. But the fact that he got up early and he called in and he's so quick and witty. All right, you want to know the worst?
Yes. Okay, Ryan. Yes.
Well, there's two. The most disappointing was Justin Timberlake.
Okay, you know what? I'm not that surprised by that because of what's been happening. Did you hear about the scandal right now? Or last year, him and Jessica Biel, all of that?
Yeah, and I've known Jessica a long time. I knew Jessica.
America's sweetheart.
From
God,
back
Ryan
in...
Chiaverini. Yeah. Can we just hang out forever?
She's from Boulder. She's from
You can
Boulder.
swear on here, by the way. I know you can on the show.
Disney would love that. She's from Boulder, Colorado, and that's where I went to college. And then I worked in Denver. And she was doing a fundraiser. She was not super famous yet. She had done Seventh Heaven. And somehow we got connected for this charity fundraiser, and I got a bunch of the Denver Broncos to go to this gambling. It was like a poker tournament for charity. So we became friends. And yeah, she is America's sweetheart and beautiful and sweet and kind. And then she
best
married.
Smile, I'm telling you.
Yes.
You have a good one too, but Jessica Biel.
Invisalign. Then
You're learning all the
you
secrets
have a nice
too.
smile too.
Thank you. Last night, actually, Ryan, I have to say, quick tidbit about smiles. I haven't worn my retainer in probably like 3 years, and last night I thought that that was gonna fix things. So last night I whitened my teeth and put my retainer in for like an hour, and I was like and then I had like a headache in the middle of the night. I was like, okay, screw this. But I literally thought I have to have the straightest teeth for Ryan Chiaverini.
Oh, they look really straight.
Well,
and
thank you.
Step 1, step 2, the crest thing, that stuff works.
1 hour express.
They don't even pay me.
There was
for
2 in the package. I know. Well, maybe the next episode will you come on. We'll have Crest sponsoring us.
This podcast brought to you by.
Oh my gosh, that was almost like the king of beers. Okay, I can't do it, but my uncle kills it.
There you go.
Budweiser.
That's the key. And on another note, just what you're doing, this didn't exist when I was coming up. This is so smart that you're doing this and you're creating your own avenue because our business is changing so much. And, 10 years ago, I would tell students to do the traditional thing, go to small market like I did, like we all did. One-man band, write, produce, edit, and then try to work your way up. Now we're seeing so many people that are going non-traditional ways and they're able to monetize it.
TikTok.
Yes. It's crazy. I'm not on it, but I'm very aware of it. Instagram is enough of a time suck. I'm not doing any more social media. But the fact that people on the influencer thing, the fact that people are able to make a living. I know that the younger generation gets a lot of criticism for a lot of different things because older people like to complain about the younger generation, just the way it is. This next generation, your generation, is way more creative than we ever were. And so keep doing what you're doing because traditional news and talk is just changing and it's minimizing, and we're going more and more into these smart devices and podcasts and everything else.
Honestly, and that was a big, like I said, I was always in radio and TV, and seeing you on Windy City Live and doing all those shows, that's still somewhere I see myself. I would love to do something like that. It's been a dream of mine. But right now I kind of figure while I'm doing a full-time job as well, let's pick up podcasting and, a hobby and do something like this. And so to really be sitting here with you, it's a pinch me moment, I have to say, Ryan.
Oh, you're going to get a lot bigger guests than me. If you get Justin Timberlake, let me know if he's nice.
Well, okay. And don't think I forgot. We're going back. Yeah. So Justin Timberlake, what surprised you about him?
He just wasn't real warm. I interviewed him and Jason Segel. Jason Segel?
Yes, love him.
He's great.
Okay, that makes me feel good because he seems
great.
Awesome.
I interviewed them and Cameron Diaz for a movie called Bad Teacher. It's a bad movie, but
I've seen it.
It's a bad movie.
But I watch anything with Cameron Diaz. I love her.
She is America's sweetheart. She was so kind and just really engaged. Jason Segel was super cool. So I interviewed her separately, then I interviewed them together. And Jason Segel was sitting on this side, Justin was sitting on this side, and I would ask them similar type questions. He was so engaging, and he was not. He just didn't want to be there. And I thought, maybe he's having a bad day. But then I asked a few other people that had interviewed him. They're like, you know what? 5 years ago, he was the coolest. He was what you see on Jimmy Fallon.
He got a little too big for his britches.
I guess. And I don't understand that because we've had Channing Tatum on. Super cool.
Did he Magic Mike for you? Or what
I didn't want him to Magic Mike for me. All of the women in the studio wanted him to Magic Mike.
Val was like, get over here.
Yeah, he just had swag about him, but he was super kind. And you're thinking, this is a guy that could have the biggest ego ever, but he didn't. And it was so nice. Like Will Ferrell came on, same. Like super cool. And it's
That's
just
interesting because
nice.
I've heard about Will Ferrell almost being rude at times, and I ignore it.
I've heard that too.
Because I'm like, no, he can't be.
I've heard
He's
that
the
too.
Best.
So Will Ferrell, when he came on the show, Ron Burgundy was big, right? And every TV person loves that anchor man, right? So I got him a bottle of Glenlivet, which is what Ron Burgundy drinks. And I handed it to him, and then we played a game with him and Zach Galifianakis were on the same show because they were promoting a movie that wasn't very good. I can't remember what it was. Do you remember?
It was something with like an election, I think. Yes, but I don't remember.
Campaign.
Yes, the campaign.
Yeah, so they came on the show and we were playing a game and Will Ferrell breaks out the scotch and he starts drinking it. Then he hands it to me, and this is way before COVID, so I didn't care about germs. So
remember we just passed like a fifth around like it was normal?
So
Fifths and cups? I'm like, excuse me, I have to drink KG tonight?
So I grab the bottle, and I drink it, and then I hand it back to him. Each question, we're just handing the bottle back and forth.
God, so I would do anything to like swap spit with like any of those celebrities just to say
I
did. Okay,
I still have the bottle, so I'll give it to you if you really want to swap. I don't know these days.
I don't think they have COVID if it's been that far back. We'll just, I'll pass around a party and I'll just pour like whatever cheap alcohol I can find and tell everyone Will Ferrell drank this, and I'll be like the hit for the rest of my life.
There you go. So during the commercial break, he looks at me and he goes, "You were really drinking that?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I was faking it." You were faking it? Yeah, I was really drinking it.
That's the same stuff I would do. I would get so peer pressure and get so drunk.
Yeah, he was making his throat move because he's an actor, right? So it looked like he was really swallowing, but he wasn't. And here I am just drinking it. So yeah, I was a little buzzed for the next segment. But did it make it more fun? My biggest regret is that I wanted him to sign it Ron Burgundy. I don't want him to sign it Will Ferrell on the bottle of Glenlivet, but I didn't get him to do that. It's sitting in my bar. And for years, I have a full bar at my house. Don't judge. And when I have
trust me, no
friends
judgment.
over,
This whole interview I've been thinking too, like not the whole time, but I can't wait until I have a cocktail later today. So don't worry about
I know.
that.
I mean, we're drinking water here.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I don't like to drink on these because I already talk really fast. So typically I try to leave alcohol out of the equation to help me out in any way I can.
Yeah. No, I think you're doing great. Shots, Benny.
Yes, limoncello.
Oh, so
But yes, your whole bar.
yeah, and so people would pour a drink and they would pour out of the bottle, and I finally had to hide the bottle because I don't want it all gone. Like that's like one of those memories that I'll have that I'm just like, oh yeah, Will Ferrell, it's a good story.
Take the dust off, tell your kids in like 30 years.
So now when I tell the story, they're like, you drank that much booze on the show? I'm like, no. People have been pouring off it for years, but I will not let anybody, it's like down to here now, and the bottle was full, so I won't let anybody pour from that. And if he ever comes back on, he has to sign it Ron Burgundy.
Gosh. Will Ferrell. I mean, so many amazing people. Do you want to drop the other disappointment?
Jeremy Piven, that's easy.
Okay, I feel like that's kind of a given. I've heard like that.
Yeah, and he's a Chicagoan, so I was hoping he was going to be cool.
Does that hurt you a little bit when you meet fellow Chicagoans? I know you're from Southern California, but you've been here long enough.
I'm a
the
Chicago
Prince.
I'm a Prince. I'm a Chicagoan for sure, through and through. I connect with this city from the moment I got here. This just felt like home. I mean, the weather's rough, but I lived in Colorado for 10 years, so I'm used to the cold. But this city, I mean, we have our problems, but I always think that as Chicagoans, we care about the problems, and you should be trying to help fix the problems that we have. So this city, I always say this is my hometown now. You know?
I'm from, I don't know if you're familiar with the suburbs, but I'm from Downers Grove.
Sure.
Growing up, so left for college for 4 years in Kentucky, came back to Chicago. I've been here for 2 years now, and I've never lived in the city until now. And so I have way more appreciation for it because we were close, but I couldn't agree with you more. The winters are horrible, but anybody in Chicago or Chicagoans, what they'll tell you, I'm sure you'll agree with me, we forget about it.
Yeah.
Because the summers are so damn good. And we're on the top of the Jay Parker. I mean, pretty much your music video, Chicago, is how it depicts our life. So, like, during that time.
Yeah, that's the highlight reel of Chicago. Yeah, I think
that made me literally want to party, I have to tell you.
Isn't that crazy?
It's such a good
music video. It's just so crazy thank you.
And that's why I'm so happy we were able to do this in person also because, you know, of course, we're being safe and everything, but it's just so much better having that connection. And I know you've talked about, too, just even with live shows, like audience members, it's just I can tell you're the type of person too. I need human connection. I need to talk to people. I'm also a big hugger and a toucher, so not being able to hug you was like the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah,
and like
grabbing my leg under the table is kind of inappropriate, but
just slide it up there.
My brother is a football coach at the University of Colorado, our alma mater.
And you played there too.
I played there as well, yeah. And I did more watching than playing. He did more playing. I actually played against Tom Brady, and he's still playing.
That is legendary.
It's unbelievable to me that we were both in college together. He played at the University of Michigan, and we were both backups that year. Brian Greasy, who was former Bear, was the starting quarterback at Michigan. And just the fact that every single one of those guys were all done playing, were all retired by 20 years or 10 years. And he's still going to Super Bowls. What's crazy, though, Tom Brady is 43. Patrick Mahomes' dad is 50.
I saw a meme about that. Wait, actually, I think you might have posted that.
That's so crazy.
You are the meme lord.
The meme king.
Yeah, like instead of like saying,
instead
of like Chicago Prince, we literally have to call you like the meme king because it is like I get all my funny news, I feel like, from your memes.
Yeah.
It's constant.
I love memes.
I loved when you dropped the pen too, and you're like, hope the producer didn't notice that.
Yeah. And that's the other thing about this business. You have to laugh at yourself. You have to laugh at yourself. If Val or I say something that doesn't come out right, we'll say, what was that? You want to say that again? You want to try that again? That's the key. It's all about the recovery. And I remember making a mistake on the air, and it would drive me crazy. I would lose sleep over it. And I would watch the playback, and it would drive me crazy. And honestly, the best thing I ever learned from my co-host was like, forget about it. We're doing another one tomorrow. Like, forget it. She would never watch the playback. She doesn't care. Once it's done, it's gone, and it's done. And it's out of her mind, and she's real. And that's honestly the greatest thing I've learned from her. And I was like, I wish I would have learned this years ago. So I hope I'm teaching you this now.
Yes, I'm ready for the wisdom.
That's it.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, like we're not
drop it on me.
We're not curing cancer. You know, we're leaving that to much smarter people. and more important people. And shout out to all of our healthcare workers, because I think we've all gotten a bigger appreciation for what they do. Like TV and radio and what we're doing now, it's really just we're having a conversation, we're having fun. And if something doesn't come out right, Benny,
Sadu.
What's up, buddy? Bring some shots, huh?
This is amazing.
We need an alcohol sponsor on this podcast. Let's
He said, "Let's go."
That's the guy you should be interviewing right there.
Oh,
He's a
trust
legend.
me, I would love to. We're trying to. Benny has a very, very busy schedule. I know you do too.
Yeah,
but
he's a legend.
Benny's hard to fit in.
That's right.
This episode of the Tailored to You podcast is sponsored by Valari, a family-owned and operated Italian restaurant since 1997, located in downtown Chicago. This episode is also recorded at Valari, so thank you so much to Benny and the amazing Valari staff for their hospitality. My guest Ryan Chiaverini and I do a lot of shout-outs throughout the episode, and actually at the end, you're going to hear what Ryan's go-to order is. He gets the Benny hookup, so stay tuned for that one. Valari truly does reflect the look and feel of an old world Italian establishment. Valari's food has been serving traditional Italian cuisine for over 20 years. It truly does have a vast variety of dishes that will cater to all of your taste needs, but it's not a trip to Valari without ordering the classic gnocchi alla vodka, my go-to order as well, from their employees who they consider family, most of whom have actually been with them since their doors opened, to their loyal customers. Shout out, I'm one of them, me and Ryan, we love it. Benny and his staff will always make you feel right at home the moment you walk in. Chicago is their home, and they always have and always will treat everyone like their family. Valari is open daily for dinner and carry out from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Feeling like a night in? Not to worry. They also offer no contact delivery through various platforms. Thank you so much to Valari for sponsoring this episode, for having us record there. We love you so much. And everybody, if you're in the Chicagoland area, please check out Valari. You will not regret it.
So that's the biggest thing, though. Don't overthink it. And if something doesn't come out right, if you're reading a teleprompter and you trip on a word, it's all about how you recover or make fun of yourself. Like the pen thing that happened yesterday. My producer texted it to me. I'm like, oh, I'm posting that.
Right. It's almost like draw attention before make fun of yourself before someone else can make fun of you.
Totally.
It's like just beating the punchline. Yeah.
Self-deprecation's key. If people that take themselves too seriously, it's like, come on.
Well, and something that really resonated with me was you were talking about kind of like the grind and like your early 20s, and something you would tell 18-year-old Ryan was, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
And as I get older, actually, and that resonated with me so much, I have a sticky note that says, don't sweat the small stuff. So when I heard you say that, I felt like we were almost just speaking to each other.
Yeah.
And we were just, again, like, just soul, like, I almost said
BFF
soulmates.
necklaces.
Yeah, but BFF necklaces. And as I get older, I realize the obstacles that I face are almost life steering me in the direction that I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And just I need to accept it, let the universe take control.
Yep.
So in that case, I kind of wonder if you've had moments or experiences that didn't go as planned or the way you envisioned, and now you're thankful that they hadn't.
A ton. I wanted this job in Philadelphia so bad. When I was, I don't know why I would want to go to Philadelphia, but it was a high-paying job. I was in Denver at the time, and I had just gotten passed over to be the main anchor. So that's another thing that happened. So I was 24, maybe. They fired the main sportscaster. They promoted me above the other 3 guys in the department. They leapfrogged me over the weekend anchor, and they put me in the main chair. And I thought I was ready. I was like, I'm 24. I'm ready. But I wasn't ready. Now that I look back, I wasn't ready. And I'm sitting there anchoring with people that I watched in college. So it was crazy to me that, I went to the University of Colorado. I watched all these people on the news. Now I'm anchoring with them, which was a little intimidating. And I was, I thought I was talented, but I was a little green. I wasn't, as experienced. They didn't give me the job. I anchored in that chair for 3 months. And then they offered me the morning sports job. But they leapfrogged another guy in the chair that had a lot more experience than me and a lot older than me. And I was hurt by that. And I just felt like, oh, they don't like me. And it was like rejection.
It's
like
hard
I
to not
got dumped.
take it personally, but it's not how it always is. It's just the
Right.
fact of the matter. We have someone more experience, and it's hard to
Right.
accept.
But when you're young, it's hard to accept it. It's like the breakup. You go through
Oh,
your
it feels
first
like your
love.
world is ending.
Yes. It's like heartbreak. So I wanted to leave. I was like sort of embarrassed. I didn't get the job. Everybody was asking me, oh, why didn't they hire you? It was in the newspaper. They didn't give me the job. I was just like dejected. So I started looking. I was like, I'm going to look for another job. So I had a chance to get a job in Philadelphia, and it came down to me and a guy from ESPN. And the guy from ESPN got chosen. And I was heartbroken about that. And I was like, oh man, I just keep getting rejected here. Meanwhile, if I had stayed in Denver, it would have all worked out and I would have been the main guy by now. But it was the best thing that never happened, because then the job in Chicago opens, and Brad Palmer was a reporter that was here for 21 years. 21 years, ABC did not make a hire in sports.
They needed a fresh look, and Ryan Chiaverini was the guy.
Well, and it just worked out. You know, the guy retired. They hired me, and like I said, so like the one door closes, but another door is going to open. And like the manifestation thing, you keep putting it out there, something good will happen. And then the Oprah retires, and I'm at the station that wants to go back to a live local talk show. So every door that closes, another one will open.
I was listening to other podcasts and hearing stories about people, big celebrities that probably you've met and interviewed, that have shared where they are today, and rather than like kind of the grind and like the beginning, and that was what interested me. And like hearing you talk about your grind, I think people would resonate with that.
Yeah,
me especially.
And I'm always fascinated by actor stories, because being an actor is such a grind. And I hear so many people telling me stories about sleeping on their friend's couch for months or sleeping in their car.
I love Dak Shepard stories. I don't know if you follow him,
Dax
but
is great.
He has some good ones.
Yeah, but all of these people have, paid their dues. They were all, I was a waiter and trying to grind, and I wasn't making good money in TV. And so it's like, you just got to stay the course, and everyone's going to, some people, they catch lightning in a bottle, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. How did they do that? Like, how did the Kardashians become what they are? And I'm not a big fan of the Kardashians.
Well, then I guess, excuse me, guys, we have to end the interview. I'm so sorry to do this to you all.
Are you a Kardashian fan?
Oh
Please
my
say
God.
no.
Obsessed.
Are you? Why?
Okay, so I have reasons, and people disagree with me. My boyfriend, the number one, I think a part of him doesn't love me because of it.
I like him already.
Yes, I mean, truly. But honestly, I think it's just because I was growing up watching the show, and it was such a staple. My sisters and I would watch it every Sunday. My mom and dad thought we were crazy, but the whole concept, I think, at the end of the day, was like the whole family mindset, and like how they're just so close and they stick with each other. And that's
You're
what
not going to convince me on this one.
I mean, trust me, I don't think I ever convince anyone. That's why I can never be a lawyer.
I actually turned down an interview with them. I turned down the interview.
Ryan,
I'm very proud of myself
really?
for that. Okay, so I do the 2-minute warning where I ask celebrities questions. I Google them.
We're going to do that later.
And Jeremy Piven was not a fan of that segment. So yeah, you're going to put me through the 2-minute warning?
Well, hey,
I like that.
We don't know.
I like that.
We'll see.
Okay.
We have some time.
All right. Well, what are we going to call it? Taylor's 2-minute warning? Taylor.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't get that creative.
Tailored for you. I kind of like
Okay.
that. Like you tailor the questions for the person.
Okay, brainstorming. Do you want to be on the team? Do you want to be my
I'll
co-host?
be the producer. Okay, so here's the thing. So I was going to do a 2-minute warning with the 3 sisters. There's 3 sisters, right? Chloe, Courtney, and Kim.
And then Kendall and Kylie are the babies. They're half sisters.
Yeah, the self-made billionaire. Kris Jenner is a genius. I'll give her that.
Mastermind.
She's a genius. So I was going to do a 2-minute warning. They agreed. They were in Chicago. They were promoting their brand. But they wanted to see all of the questions beforehand. And I don't let anybody see the questions.
I mean, it's rapid
beforehand.
fire. It's
Yes.
supposed to be like off the top of your mind. What is it?
Right, but that's not how they roll. Kris controls everything. So they want to control the media. They want to control anybody that interviews them to protect their brand. So they want to see the questions. I said, nope, I can't show you the questions. They said, well, we want to see some of the questions. I said, okay, I'll show you some of the questions. We're going back and forth with the publicist. So I'll show you some of the questions.
I cannot believe we're getting like inside scoop on like the Kardashians behind the scenes media.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think I've ever told this story.
Here we go.
Here you
Taylor,
go.
to you.
Breaking news.
Breaking news right here. That this is going to be the promo. Kardashians. And like that's going to be number 1.
That's it. People will click on it.
Yeah.
It's clickbait.
Clickbait for sure.
So I said, I said some of the questions will be like this, like which sister takes the longest to get ready. It'll be fun, playful stuff. Then they said, well, we want, I think 5 of the 10 questions to be about the brand. And I was like, absolutely not. So I went to my producer and I said, I'm done. I'm done going back and forth with them. And she respected that. She said, all right, I'm fine. And so we didn't have them on.
I could see them going back and forth on that.
So controlling, yeah.
You have said that everybody has a platform.
Yeah.
Your songwriting career and kind of how you've dove into that. and why your song Chicago, which we mentioned, the most hype music video. If anyone is from Chicago or not, that's what you should be watching to get excited for the summer. Hopefully it'll be the same. And then also last year you did This Is Country.
Yeah.
And so what impact have those songs had on your life now and also on the foundations and how your platform is bringing awareness?
Yeah, I do. I think that everybody has a platform, some bigger than others. And, you can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. That's kind of the way I look at that. And so for me, music is a big passion of mine. My dad's a professional musician. He has a song on the Pulp Fiction movie soundtrack.
He has a platinum album, though.
Yes.
That is
by
insane.
accident. So he had a song that came out in the 60s. It was like number 15 or something on the charts. And he was touring with Sonny and Cher and the Beach Boys and all these great bands. And then Quentin Tarantino, 30 years later, decided to put it in Pulp Fiction. And the movie became this cult classic. And so he's like the true musician of the family.
The Chiaverini name just needs to be like in all the Hall of Fames, I feel like, not just Chicago.
We've had some,
Your brother was an
success.
NFL player.
We've had a pretty good run, and we don't come from anything. I think we've all built kind of our way. So that's kind of important to me too. It's not like we're not self-made billionaires that we're handed things by our family, but anyway, music is always been a passionate hobby of mine. He can't help himself. Passionate hobby of mine. Dad's the true musician. For me, I like to write songs. I think it's cathartic and therapeutic, especially right now when we're all at home. So I've been writing a lot, and then recording them once in a while and putting a good cause behind them are important for me. If I can help raise awareness or help raise funds for charities through it, it's great. So we've given back to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I lost my brother to suicide, so it's near and dear to me. And my mom died from cancer, so we have raised money for cancer research. Your loved ones would appreciate that, and to do something nice in their name is important,
And you're commemorating them, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's also a way for you to heal and grieve.
I did, and I kept it inside for a long time. 5 years I didn't speak about my brother. And it's, there's a lot of shame and there's a lot of, there's a lot of stigma with suicide. And I think we're just now learning more about it because of this pandemic. And we know that the suicide rates are up, and we're starting to understand mental health and embrace it. There was never, when my brother died, there was never, promos that said it's okay to not be okay or feel okay. Now you're seeing that, and people are more, they're just more open to talking about mental health, which I love. So it's the best thing I did to finally break my silence and to try to help other people with such a painful thing to go through.
Again, I think it's so amazing you're doing that. And even to kind of going off of that, it is, like you said, so people feel more open talking about that. I remember when I was in high school, if you were to say you had anxiety or stress from something, it just wasn't really something you talked about.
Before I was going to talk about my brother, I talked about my brother on the show. We did a show on mental health, and my producer pushed me to talk about it. I didn't even know my producer knew, because when this happened, my brother was only 20, and when this happened, I took a month off of work. I just didn't want to be at work. Nothing mattered anymore. There was just a lot of things going on in his life, and you felt like, oh, what if I did this? What if I could have helped? What if, And so I didn't want to be at work, and I remember I didn't think anybody knew at work except for people in my sports office, which newsrooms are a gossip circle, so I'm sure a lot of people knew, but they never said anything to me. So my producer ended up saying, hey, Ryan, I want to talk to you about something. She's like, hey, I know about your brother, and I really think that it would help a lot of people to share your story. And I remember getting anxiety. My heart would start racing. And right before I was going to do the show, I wanted to back out the night before, and I was having all that feeling of anxiety and just being uneasy. And in talking about it was really hard. Hardest thing I've ever done. But now I'm at a place where I can really help others, and people don't feel as alone. But it was hard. It was a hard thing to do.
It's interesting how you mentioned how your brother was so goofy and he had like this fun personality. And when I was watching the Chicago music video that I know you wrote during that time, it kind of depicted that. It makes everyone feel happy and alive. And
wanted it to be a happy song. I didn't want to write a depressing song. We have too many of those out there. Sam Smith. I mean,
but Latch, if anyone knows me, the instrumental version, it will be in part of my wedding.
Oh, which song?
It's Latch is it Sam Smith? I'm looking at Stephanie because I play it. So it's Disclosure's actual song.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
So again, I'm not a huge music person. Like when it comes to that, knowing songs, I just can't. But so we'll be like out at parties and like all drinking, and then I literally will like that will come up on my playlist, and it will like bring the total vibe down. Everyone's like, "Damn it, she did it again!" It's like, "Now I've got you." Like oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. Let's go.
That was like actually wait, yeah. Should we get a guitar out? Oh, thank you, Benny got the guitar.
Oh, you got it. Bring in the mariachi band.
I just think it's so awesome you found a way to integrate your family, things that have gone on into your life, into music, into something so positive.
And like I said, it took a long time, but I got to a place where I felt like I was doing a disservice to people by being silent. So, everybody is sort of called to something different, and we're all affected by different things in our lives. But if you can do something positive with such a negative thing, you should do it. Anybody should.
I love that you're sharing so much and being so honest. So I feel very honored.
Yeah, I don't usually bash Justin Timberlake, so you got that too. They told me not to talk bad about celebrities, so I try not to, but sometimes it's hard.
You're also an Emmy winner. What mindset were you in when preparing for the award show and for your speech?
I think that you usually go into those thinking you're going to lose. So
that's what I want to know. Like, what do people think?
You're trying to, we talk about law of attraction, so you're trying to put out the positive vibes, but there's a lot of people in the category. So, and I remember I had lost a couple of times before, so I wasn't really expecting it. So when I heard my name that night, I was like, whoa, this is cool. And so I didn't write anything. Just kind of spoke from the heart. I don't even know what I said, but
I can tell you what you said.
Oh, really?
But the reason why I want to ask this question is because you sounded very prepared. But you did a football reference, and you said how QBs usually get all the recognition,
credit,
the credit, and the offensive line doesn't. So you wanted to shout out your Windy City Live team.
Oh, nice.
So I think that is. Do you not remember?
No, now I do. That was a long time ago.
So growing up, we watch award shows on Sundays. It was like my family thing. We loved watching them. We did the red carpet. It was like a holiday for us.
Right.
And whenever a celebrity would go up and they'd win an award and they'd act so shocked and they'd be like, "Oh my God, me?"
I know.
Like, and then they'd be like, I didn't prepare anything.
Right.
And then they'd be like, "Actually, I want to thank blah, 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 blah." Like, and then they have like this whole thing and the music turns on and we're like, "All right, like get off Meryl Streep."
Yeah. It is funny though when they are so shocked, but they're actors. So they're acting up there.
True.
I know Taylor Swift's not an actor, but she has like always surprised that she wins. And I'm like, you're Taylor Swift. You win everything.
Well, I think she's scared Kanye is going to run up and take her down. So, I mean, I'd always act surprised, too. I'd be like, is it real? Kanye,
seriously.
You sure?
Did you see the documentary on her?
Okay, so I'm not a huge Swift fan. And
you will be.
Okay, so I will watch it. My one friend, Caroline Bone, gets so mad at me. She thinks I just don't listen to Taylor Swift because it's like too mainstream. I'm like, I'm not like that, but I just genuinely was never that drawn to her.
Yeah, you will be once you watch the documentary.
Out of the Woods, though. Love that song. Okay, I'll watch the documentary. Americana?
Yes, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. You learn a lot about her. You will be a fan after, trust me. Everybody I tell to watch that. I'm a 43-year-old man telling people to watch Taylor Swift documentaries. But you won't regret it.
That's the best kind of man to be.
You won't regret it. Anyway, going back to the speech, I don't know. I just think speaking from the heart is the way to go. I mean, have a couple of things in mind maybe with anything. It's like when people stand up at weddings, my pet peeve is when the maid of honor or the best man get ready for their speech and they read it from a card. They read it like word for word. Like, I have known Bill for 20 years. You've known Bill for 20 years. But I hate when they just read it because it's not genuine.
Right. And also to that point, too, you either have that speech, maid of honor speech, or you have the hammered sister who can't stop crying. And I hope I'm a good mix of the two when I do it.
Yeah.
Because I want to have a little buzz. I want to be having fun, but I want it to be natural. But I also need to keep it cool a little bit.
Yeah. I was at a wedding not long ago and best man, he waited way too long to make the speech.
I mean, I'm going to get married at 10 a.m. and have everyone give their speeches because I can't trust my sisters. I can't trust any of my friends to get up there soberly and give a speech. Truly.
Yeah.
I can't even trust myself sometimes.
I'm not bringing you around the bottle of Glenlivet. That bottle will be gone. And so I did a wedding a couple years ago where I, officiated the wedding. So now I have 2 more coming up.
Okay,
I have 2 more
Ryan
weddings
Chiaverini.
coming up.
Well, you were dating my wedding.
We'll talk about it.
How legendary would that be? Like, I interviewed you my first year into podcasting. We became best friends. He was my mentor, and he married us.
Yes, perfect.
We talked about, Emmy Award winner, So amazing. Modern Luxury also named you among Chicago's most eligible bachelors.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but we can't, I mean, come on. We can't fail to mention it.
I got a lot of heat for that. Not just a lot of flack from that, from girls that I've dated.
All right, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Spill the tea.
No, just they're like, oh, yeah, you're most eligible bachelor. Yeah, okay.
But I've been dating you for 3 years. Like,
Yeah,
how are
right?
you eligible?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that didn't sit well. I think I had a girlfriend at the time when that came out, so she didn't love that. Yeah, it didn't work out.
Well, and you also, they'll probably like this one. You were also named by New City Best Looking TV Personality. So I'm sure your girlfriend at the time was like, all right, fine. If he's the best looking, he can, have a couple other flings on the side.
I think my grandma wrote that article, actually.
Like we said, Chicago Prince. So you've been kind of named a bunch of other things, and you're just such a multitude of talents, and you really wear many hats, from radio, TV. We talked about music. Which hat makes you feel like your best self?
Music for sure. Just playing like in a bar. I used to play at Bub City with some bands, and Joe's on Weed Street, all of those live music venues. Doing music is just hands down. If I could be a rock star, I would leave TV yesterday. But
when I watch you and you have so much fun up there.
It's a great time. It's a great time. But it's like if I only had a voice like Zach Brown or Chris Stapleton, then I could leave TV. But I don't. So you got to embrace what you have and have fun with it. But
you have a great radio voice in general too. I will say.
Thanks.
I as I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, mine's gonna be like they're gonna be like, can we have Ryan more? Like,
no, you sound good. You do.
Well, thank you. Something I really would love to know as we're kind of nearing the end of this interview, which literally like I said, I could talk to you all day, Ryan.
I'm here. We're having dinner. Benny, bring the pasta.
All right. Then in that case, let's just slow roll. Let's sit back for a minute, take a pause.
Yeah, you can edit out all my bad parts, and then you can just put the good stuff in.
Honestly, I'm thinking, as you were talking, I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to edit? Because I think this is going to be a 3-hour interview. My listeners just going to have to accept it.
Like part 7 with Ryan Chiaverini.
It'll be the entire season 2 will be just all parts of Ryan Chiaverini.
When he was 5, he colored outside the lines. Coming up next.
And these will be the intros. Oh my God, I love it. So what is a quality you possess that you are most proud of?
I mean, I like to think that I'm genuine. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, you want to be with genuine people. And I think that's a good quality to have. I don't know. A lot of people will say that. That's the best compliment, I guess. And when people say, hey, when I meet you, you are the same that you are on TV. Because a lot of people aren't. And I'm like, I know, because I meet a lot of those people, and it's so disappointing.
You're no JT.
Yeah, let's not get into him again. So I think genuine is key, and just treating people right. It's like I said, we're all the same. We're all just in this world. We're all like little ants in this, hourglass or wherever we're, like I'm obsessed with space right now. So we're just like so little on this earth. And so just because somebody is famous or successful or rich, I hate big egos. So just being genuine. And so that's the biggest compliment when someone meets me. They say, oh, you're exactly like you are on TV.
And I have to say, Ryan, I've told you I've watched the show. My mom is a picture of you all. We're going to get that retaken.
Please.
And
look awful.
I feel the same way. Watching you in interviews, watching you on TV, meeting you today. I mean, it felt so just natural.
I just need to hang out with you every day for my
I'm your hype girl. Yeah.
Self-esteem.
You've expressed that a part of the show has been really fun for you, seeing young talents, on the rise to fame. And they have done their first appearances. Chance the Rapper and Ed Sheeran did their first show appearances on Windy City Live. So when am I coming on the show?
Yes.
Do you need any new young talent?
Superstar. As soon as we get you on, then boom, you're going to be hosting The View.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you want to be on that show, though.
I don't know about The View, but like The Real, I think I love those women.
The Talk, The Real.
Okay, first of all, too, if this is The View, I will totally do it. Like, let's not say I'm turning anything down.
Yeah. The View. Yeah, a lot of catfighting on that show, though. Yeah, it was so cool when we booked Chance the Rapper. My producer knew he was going to be somebody, or at least I heard. But Chance came on, he's still the same guy. He's a super cool guy. In fact, his apartment I've been in, it's his old apartment's right here in Streeterville.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess after we'll just walk by, do a quick drive-by. I'm assuming you guys are friends.
Yeah, we'll just knock on his door, no problem. And then Ed Sheeran came on. Yeah, within 6 months or 4 months, both those guys were doing award shows. And Ed was big in the UK, but he came here Nobody knew who he was. Super cool. I mean, nobody was like fangirling because they didn't really know who he was in America. He does our show, and then he just shoots to superstardom here. But I think part of that is because he came on and he was doing local TV. Here he was a big star, and he wasn't too above doing local shows. And I remember he left signed autographs, headshots, and I just had it like in a stack in a box. And I remember once I saw him on the Grammys, I was like, I got to find that picture. And I have it now. I actually have it. It's like framed in my office now. And anybody that can sing gets instantly more attractive. Don't you think? Yeah, it's like, that's one, at least it is for me.
It's like when you dropped Chicago. That was right when you got the Most Eligible Bachelor. Everything
must have been it.
Everything started happening for you.
Yeah, they're like,
women love you with the guitar.
That's the whole reason why I started playing. It's so true. Tom Petty said the same thing. I used to watch my dad when I was a kid and watching him play, and I was just enamored with it. I was enamored with music, and I would have my headset on, and I was a little kid. So I was always drawn to it. Then, I remember Tom Petty saying, oh, yeah, I would have never went on a date unless I played the guitar. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I picked it back up as I got older, and now it's just so fun.
So any guys listening, Ryan Chiaverini's tips is to, I think Ryan, my sound guy after, is we're going to go guitar shopping. Are you going to start picking up music?
Guitar Center. Oh, you do?
Oh,
Can
Ryan,
you play?
Ryan has 3 guitars. Nice. He's a ladies' man.
That's it.
He's already on the rise.
Start breaking that out, yeah.
Oh my God, he's actually has to leave, so he's got like 4 dates tonight.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he's texting. He's on Tinder.
I have 3 guitars. All right, guy. So we got some questions for you from some of the Tailored to You listeners.
Tailored to You, brought to you by Glenn Levitt.
Yes. Gosh, I'm seriously going to have to hire you. I can't afford you, but we'll make it work. Kat in Kansas City is asking who your celebrity crush is.
Julianne Hough. She's been my celebrity crush for a long time. I just love her bubbly personality, and she's talented. She can dance. I mean, she's not the best actress in the world, but she can act too.
Safe Haven? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That is
Good
literally
call.
one of the best.
Good call. Julianne Hough, though, yeah, we've never had her on. They have tried to book her so many times, and we have never gotten her on.
She's seriously, again, she's so talented. I love watching Dance with the Stars with her. Her brother is so awesome. Christina in Chicago needs to know what your go-to Valari dish is.
Ooh, go-to Valari dish. Benny always makes me some type of tortellini, and I can't commit on, see, I'm still not married. I can't commit to a white sauce or a red sauce, so he gives me a little bit of both, like a little Alfredo and a little marinara. And then I can, go back and forth.
Nolan in LA wants to know how you handle criticism being in the public eye.
I think that once you do it long enough, you realize that you got to cut that out. It's like, don't believe the good too much and don't believe the bad, because the truth is somewhere in the middle. When we first got the show, I remember it was on the cover of yahoo.com. And that was back when, I still had my Yahoo email account.
I still have a Yahoo.
I
and
like
it's a little
Yahoo,
bit. I know.
People make fun of it.
Oh, I sent an email and I literally got a response to my uncle, and he was like, "I literally don't even know if this is real. Like, can you confirm this is you? Are you being hacked?" I'm like, "No, like this is my email."
Your uncle is shaming you? Oh man, no, I like Yahoo because it's got the news on there. But I remember had a picture of us, me and Val, the day that we got announced as the hosts, and even though it was a local show, it said, "Oprah, here are your replacements." And this was on yahoo.com. And then the comments section was so mean. My dad read it and he called me and he was all upset. He was like, "Rye, they're like so mean." I go, "Dad, don't worry about that." So you have to have thick skin in this business because you're going to get criticized. I remember one time I said the wrong score to a game, and I was very tan at the time because it was summer. And someone wrote me an email, and it was like, maybe if you weren't so busy laying out by the pool, you would know the right score to the Lakers game. And I remember I was young. I was like 22, and it hurt my feelings. I still remember that.
And I'm sure too, as you get older, you just feel more comfortable with yourself, and you're like,
totally.
You're drinking Haterade.
Yeah.
You try to do this, that sort of thing.
You got to let it go. And watch the Taylor Swift thing. You'll see all the haters she had.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel like she gets the worst backlash.
Yes.
So I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be my Saturday night go-to.
I promise you, and you better follow up with me because I want to know what you think of her after this.
I definitely will. Well, I'm definitely going to watch it just so that we can communicate. So I'll watch it probably like right when I get home so I can call you.
Yeah.
That'll
we're
be
best friends. Yeah. In fact, here, I'm going to write down my number here.
Oh my God. But that pen is,
here.
Okay, this is happening, you guys.
BFFs. Here.
I was going to say, because my pen is that was kind of sweaty from my hands.
I know we've been communicating by email, but here you go. Now you Send me a message and let me know.
Ryan, wow.
Let me know. I did this one time with, I don't always just write my phone number down, but Jenny McCarthy asked me for my phone number on the air, and I gave it to her, and then she showed it to the camera, and my phone was blowing up.
Well, that actually leads to the next question, because Virginia and Atlanta is dying to know if you're single.
I'm not. I'm actually engaged.
What, Ryan? Wow, is okay? I was gonna say, I feel like that was a secret or something. Like,
no, I'm not engaged.
I know Val just got engaged.
She did. We're excited for that wedding. Because she was engaged for like 10 years and never got married. So this time she's got a date set. We're doing this. And I have some big news about that wedding, but I can't break it just yet. But I'll fill you in later. But no, I have a girlfriend, but not married, not engaged.
Virginia, I'm very sorry. She'll be very sad to hear. Yeah. But we're going to end, like I said, with that 2-minute warning. This is something that you do. It's actually Emmy nominated. So for those listening who aren't familiar, Ryan hosts 2-minute warning on Windy City Live, and it's rapid fire questions. And we'll see if we can answer them all in under 2 minutes. All right. I'm actually going to have Stephanie record the time for us. And let's see if we can do it starting now. What is your guilty pleasure?
Macaroni and cheese. Why did I say that? I don't know. Why did that come to my head? Go ahead.
The best movie your go-to actor Tom Cruise has been in.
Oh, best movie? Oh, either Born on the 4th of July or Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire's mine too. Or A Few Good Men. Love that.
Oh, that's a good too. Yeah, he makes a lot of good movies.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
If animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
The rudest? I've never heard of this question in my entire life. I love it.
It cracked me up.
The rudest. This has got me here. Let's see. I love tigers, so I don't think they would be the rudest. I mean, a pig, I guess. I mean, yeah.
See, what came to mind for me was rhino. I feel like they're just like pissed.
Gonna say rhino.
They're always like
hippo.
they have a pissed off look.
Rhino.
I've never encountered a rhino, but
peacocks are really feisty.
Okay, so peacocks
don't get in a fight with a peacock. If you've learned nothing from this podcast, don't pick a fight with a peacock. All right.
I always try to have people walk away with something, but if that's the lesson, I guess I'll take it.
We're really hurting if that's the lesson.
Oh, wait, the time's already up? Oh, we have 30 seconds.
Going.
Okay, go-to karaoke song.
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
Is the Chef Special Tito's Soda Splash of OJ still your drink of choice?
How did you know that? You really did your homework.
Ryan, I have to. Yes. For you? Come on.
The Chef Special. Yes, it is. Correct.
Okay. Describe these people in one word. Val Warner.
Sweet.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Witty.
Your dad.
Talented. He's, I would say, Renaissance man.
Darren Chiaverini, your twin brother.
Moody. No, athletic. I would say athletic.
Hank Mendime, the executive producer of Windy City Live.
Moody Hank.
Ryan Chiaverini.
Goofy.
Okay, I think we're up, but I want to keep asking these questions real quickly. Coffee or tea?
I've never had a cup of coffee in my entire life. Yeah, so I would say tea.
Most used emoji?
The laughy face, because when I post memes, I always put the crying, laughing face.
And I like the sideways one.
Yes.
Like kind of like...
Yes, that's when it's really funny.
Yeah, that's like that they really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Window or aisle seat?
Window.
How do you like your steak prepared?
Medium plus.
Oh my gosh, me too. Soulmates. And finally, into the camera, give a shout out to your hometown of Corona, California and Corona High School.
Corona High School and Corona, California. We need to change the name of our city ASAP. I mean, can we come up with another name?
That is so true.
Just call it Pacific Heights or something. We have to get rid of that name.
Well, I'm sure they'll be happy to hear from Senior Class President and Prom King, Ryan Chiaverini. Gosh, Ryan, this was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed being on the other side of 2-minute warning. I know you're the pro, but I had so much fun today with you.
I had a blast. Taylor, you're great. You're a natural. She's a natural. How about a round of applause?
Ryan, thank you so much.
We're going to have an audience next time.
Oh, I hope so. But while we wrap, let's let everyone know where they can follow you, what time Windy City Live is, kind of give them the lowdown on Ryan Chiaverini.
Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. live, and then we rerun at midnight. And just at Ryan Chiaverini. If you can spell it, you can find me.
Remember, phonetically, Chiaverini will help you. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tailored to You podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. Leave us a rating and review, and follow on Instagram and Facebook at T2U Podcast. And I really do encourage you to make this podcast tailored to you. So go ahead and visit T2Upodcast.com and submit questions you might have for me, for the guests, types of guests you want to see on, possibly you. Send it in. Topics of interest, really anything you want. And let's keep talking on Tuesdays.